Hi and welcome to NicheCraft. My name is Kassi and I'm your host, and today I am going to be teaching you how to crochet the iris stitch. This is a swatch I made just last night featuring the iris stitch. So as you can see, it is it's a really beautiful stitch. It's a 1-row repeat. If you look closely, you can see that it's made up of looks like kind of like V stitches here, okay? And I can even tell you that it's very similar to the V stitch. For those of you who do know the V stitch, this is going to make a lot of sense to you. For you, those of you who don't, no worries. First off, I already have a video tutorial for that if you're interested in learning it. But this is a very easy, I would even call it a beginner level pattern. It's great for blankets and you'll be fine, okay? Just want to tell you a little bit about this swatch just because I know if I saw this, I would be like, what yarn is that? So the yarn for this is Mary Maxim Prism. It is a 3-weight yarn, and this colorway is Misty. It came in my quarterly blanket club, okay? And it sends me a blanket once every 3 months. The one for April it featured this yarn. It sent 8 of these balls with it, and it had its own pattern. But you know, sometimes you want to make a pattern that you have in your mind, and I thought the iris stitch would be great, and doesn't that look beautiful with that? The feel of this yarn is very, very similar to Ed Hart's Unforgettable yarn, okay? So I just wanted to give you an idea of what it's like for those of you who don't know. But yes, it's available on marymaxim.com. I believe it's about $6.50 per ball, okay? Today, though, I am going to be using the Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. This is in the color Anemone. It is a ombre yarn, obviously, with different colors of pinks and plums here. It is not quite burgundy. It's more of a rose or almost even a purple type color rather than a burgundy type color, although burgundy is very close to it, okay? So, the iris stitch. What you need to know for the iris stitch is it's a multiple of 4 plus 3, okay? And what you will need to know how to chain, how to double crochet, and how to skip. And that's about it. That's all you're going to really need to know. I am going to be using this Red Heart Super Saver Ombre weight 4 with an eye hook, okay? But what I would suggest is for you to get yarn of your choice with a crochet hook that feels right for that yarn, okay? The stitch is not really going to matter based on the size hook or yarn you're using. Just know that the higher the hook size, the more loose it'll be, and the lower, the less lacy it'll be, okay? And this is really not supposed to be a super lacy stitch. If you like this stitch and you would like a lacier look, go ahead and use the V stitch, all right? Okay, so we are going to start out with a slip knot. And for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and crochet 23 chains, okay? And the reason I'm going with 23 is that it's a multiple of 4. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 3, okay? So that is how I came up with the number 23. You can make it whatever you like as long as it's a multiple of 4 plus 3. All right, so I'm going to begin chaining 23, and I will meet you back when I have 23 chains. All right, see you there. All right, guys, welcome back. I have 23 chains here so that I can start teaching you the iris stitch. Now I'm going to give the instructions for those of you who learn quickly and just want to know exactly how to do it so that you guys can go start doing it on your own. And then I will do a slower demonstration for those of you who need to visualize it. So what we're going to do is we are going to count 5 chains from the hook, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets into that chain. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to put 2 more double crochets right back into that same chain. Next, we'll skip 3, and then we'll repeat 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, skip 3, and on until the end. Okay, so for those of you who need a demonstration, which would be somebody more like me, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I was going to use a crochet hook, but I found my scissors. I like to use these better because they have a nice point. So when we count 5 chains from the hook, we do not count the chain on the hook. We don't count that. We count, this is the first chain from the hook, second, third, fourth, and this is the 5th one. This is the one that we're going to work into. So once I've identified that, I'm going to put my thumb right there so that I will make sure that I can hold on to it. Okay, and we are going to make a double crochet in that 5th chain from the hook. Okay, so we put our crochet hook in there after we yarn over, and that just means putting the yarn over the hook like that. Okay, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we put our crochet hook in there, pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. We pull through 2, and then we pull through 2 again, and that is our first double crochet. All right, so the pattern for this row is to put 2 double crochets into the first chain that we crochet into. Okay, so I have 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to put 2 more double crochets right back in to that same chain. Okay, so it's kind of like a V-stitch, only we're doing 2 double crochets instead of just 1 double crochet on each side of that chain space. All right, so we end up with this kind of cluster with a chain in the middle. Right now we are going to count 3 chains because we're going to skip them. Skip, 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 and now into that next chain right there we are going to make the same stitch. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. So here is my first double crochet and my second double crochet. All right, now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to put 2 more double crochets into that same spot. 1, 2. All right, and this is what it should look like once you've done 2 of them. So we have this turning chain here where we went into the 5th chain from the hooks. That's supposed to be there. And then we are going to continue to make these all across until we get to the end. Okay, so I'm just going to show you one more time. We skip 3, 1, 2, 3. We go into this 4th chain, double crochet twice, 1, 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. I will meet you back at the very end when I have done my last cluster. Okay, see you then. Okay, so I am back and I have made my clusters, for lack of a better word, or my V's here across the row, and I have 2 more chains left. So in the very last chain, I'm going to skip 1. The very last chain, I am going to put just 1 double crochet right there. Okay, and next I'm going to put this down so that you guys can see the effect that I just made. So we've got 1 equivalent of a double crochet on this side, 1 double crochet on this side, and in the middle we've got our iris stitches. Okay, so that is what your work should look like. Now if yours is bowing like mine, and it might be even more so than mine or maybe less, one tip to avoid that is to just make your chains either looser or use a crochet hook that is a size up from the one that you're using, and then switch to the crochet hook you want to use for the first row. Okay, and because the reason that this happens is that the chain spaces, since we're putting 4 stitches into each one of these, the chain spaces are smaller, and so it's kind of like it's too tight. All right, and that's what's causing that. Okay, so now we are ready for row 2, and this is our pattern repeat. So you can continue to do row 2 over and over and over until it becomes as long, as tall as you want it, okay? So we always start with 3 chains, okay? Chain 3 and turn. Now this chain 3 at the very beginning counts as your first double crochet, and that is just so that we have some kind of frame around our stitches, okay? Now we are going to put, it's very, very simple. We are going to put the same stitch we made into that chain space, and that is it. So we are going to yarn over and put 2 double crochets into this chain space. 1, 2. Now we're going to chain 1 just like we did before, and then we put 2 more double crochets into that chain space. 1, 2. And we continue that until we come to the end, and at the very end we put 1 double crochet into the top chain of this last chain right here, okay? I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so that you guys can see this a little bit better, and I'm going to show you again how to do that. Now this is a lot to skip, okay? So don't worry about this place right in between them. That's not where we go, okay? Where we go is this chain space right here, okay? So we're going to be skipping all of this and going into that next chain. That is the next stitch we're going to make. So yarn over, double crochet twice, okay? 1, 2, okay? Chain 1, and then put 2 more double crochets into that chain space. 1, 2. All right, so you can see how it's looking, and we will compare this to the swatch that I made, and you can probably see how that is the exact same one. This is just using a weight 3 yarn instead of a weight 4 yarn, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and continue to make that iris stitch of 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets until I reach the very end, and I will meet you back there, okay? See you there. All right, guys, so I'm at the end. I have made my last iris stitch into the iris stitch before, and what I am going to do is I am going to now yarn over, and I am going to put 1 single crochet, or I'm sorry, a double crochet into this top chain. So here's 1, 2, and I'm going to put it into this one right here. Okay, so we are double crocheting right there, and I have finished the row. All right, so now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to turn. And what I do here is I just continue to put that iris stitch into the iris stitch from before, and then when I get here I'm going to put 1 double crochet there. Remember, this chain 3 counts as a double crochet on this side, so you don't have to do that at the beginning of your row, but at the end you need to do that if you want to have this nice kind of straight border on each side. And I'll show you what it looks like on a larger piece. So you can see it's got that nice border around it. It just kind of holds it in place. It's almost like it's the skeleton of the stitch. All right, yeah, I think it's really nice looking. So I'm going to continue to put 2 double crochets, a chain 1 space, and then 2 more double crochets, and then I'm going to go into the next one, and I'll meet you back at the end just so we can practice one more row before you guys can go and practice as much as you want on your own. All right, guys, I'll see you there. All right, guys, so as you can see, this iris stitch is working out beautifully in this 4-weight yarn, and so we can look at that and compare that to the work up in the 3-weight yarn, and we can see that it is consistently beautiful no matter what weight we use. And I just want to show you again how to find that place to crochet into when you're at the very end. So we take that chain 3 that we did from the row before, and we find that top chain, or we can count it by going 1, 2, 3. So it's right there. And we just put a double crochet right in there again to frame it, and then we chain 3 to begin our next row and turn, and then just do the iris stitch into the iris stitch before. And you can do this as long, as tall as you like. This makes a beautiful blanket, but it can also be used for so many other things. It can be used as a wearable, as a shawl. You can make anything you put your mind to with this stitch. I mean, I can think of so many things to use this for, so it's just absolutely beautiful. It makes a beautiful cowl too. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this stitch tutorial. It's named after a flower, so I'm just kind of reminding you of the May theme. And speaking of reminders, I want to go ahead and remind you that I have a really amazing May giveaway going on right now, so you're going to want to enter that. So make sure that you find that video so you can enter to win some really amazing products. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Please leave me a comment if there's anything you can think of that you would like for me to do a tutorial on. If there are any suggestions, if you just want to comment, that's great. I always love comments. I read all of them too. I just absolutely love reading you guys' comment. And it would help me a lot if you went ahead and liked this video. If you have not subscribed, I have videos like this all the time, but I also have mystery box unboxings, product demonstrations and reviews, all sorts of things that would be great for anybody who's interested in yarn, crochet, and you might want to share this with your friends too, if you want them to know how to make this stitch that might be the name also of one of their favorite songs as well. I was singing that in my head as I was making this, and that's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. That's probably dates me, but yeah, in college that was a big song when I was younger. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much. I will see you soon in another video. Bye!